welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Vicente, and if you're new to the channel, this is my McLaren 650S. Now you can see I've got the tripod and the lights. I'm going to try and do a more professional shoot and do a walk around of the actual car. But if you like content like this and future build out on this and a future project car that's coming to the channel as well, do me a favor and click the subscribe. There should be a link down below, or you can just click the little logo in the corner. Same thing there. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks. What makes a supercar super? Is it its all-out speed? How about its beautiful flowing lines? I think the one thing that every supercar has is that above all else, it will compromise for all-out performance. Now, the McLaren has been out for quite some time. This is the evolution of the McLaren MP4-12C. Largely the same vehicle. Same 4.0 liter V8. It has a lot of the same features of that car. However, it has a tremendous amount of differences as well. See, the first McLaren was plagued with issues. Transmission issues, iris issues. This one was largely sorted by the time it came out. Now, there are a lot of compromises with this car. There's not a lot of space in it. There's not a glove box and you really can't put anything on the inside except for you and key. McLarens have been known to not give you feel, that they've been so technologically innovative that unlike a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, you're not getting the road feel, you're not getting the passion, the soul of the vehicle. Now, I've driven a 458, I drove a Huracan, I drove a Gallardo, and there is no doubt that the feel and passion and soul of those vehicles is felt the moment you turn them on. And I can't say that the moment you turn this on, you get that. And that's because the moment you turn it on, it's in normal. You've actually got to push a button in the car to let the car know, yeah, I actually want to drive you. Once you do that, supercar it is. I'm sure by now you guys have seen numerous reviews and walk-arounds of the 650S, and I'm not going to bore you with details that you've heard 100 times, but I am going to tell you a few things that make this unique. So now all McLarens have a carbon fiber monocoque. I mentioned that a few moments ago, and what makes that unique is it allows the car to be a spider without losing performance. See, traditionally in a convertible model, they've got to reinforce the chassis of the car, and it makes it heavier. So you actually sacrifice performance for a little bit of visual appeal. Now this one, you don't need that. The carbon fiber monocoque is so strong, it allows them to maintain the same mass and have a convertible roof. So the 0 to 60 times and top speed of this car are the same whether it's a coupe or a convertible. Another thing that's been upgraded over the 12C is the lights. Now they do mirror the McLaren logo. I really think this gives a very interesting look to the front, much more futuristic, and stands out amongst any other car. Now this one is in McLaren orange. I can't tell you what this does in the sun, but the color you see now on your phones or on your iPad or your computer, when you see it in the sun, it just hits different. This has carbon fiber throughout, so the spec on this car, you've got the carbon fiber front splitter, you've got the carbon fiber diffuser, and carbon fiber accents throughout the car. The other thing I want to point out from a design element is the dihedral doors. You get out of that and every single person around looks at you when your doors go up instead of out. One thing you guys know when you watch my channel is I hate fake vents, and not surprisingly, when you get a supercar, there are no fake vents. Everything on here is done purposefully, whether that's the large air intake here, the large air intake by the window, the front end grille to cool the radiators. That's all here purpose-built to make this car perform the way it does. Now there's a lot of trick aero in this car that I want to talk about that you can't see, and that's underneath. So now on a McLaren, you have a flat bottom floor. It allows you to get some top end speed like nothing else. But because of that, you need to diffuse or push that air into other places. Now there are air dams on both sides of the car that rush air into the air intakes that are on both sides of the car. By each tire, you also have a air chute or dam that throws air into the brakes. So you have these large ducts that scoop the air in and cool the brakes at high speed. Every line here is designed to channel air, whether that's into the air intakes or around the car to help it hug the road. Hug the road? There's the rear spoiler. Activates at high speeds, gets nice and slippery and low. Or you can put it in the track and show off with that thing up, giving you cornering, handling, and again, just looks cool. While we're in the rear and talking about the rear spoiler that moves up and down, we can't not talk about the big window that allows you to see the engine. Now, this isn't new. Ferrari and Lamborghini have been doing this for years, allowing you to peek in to the engine. This is a little unique in the sense that that's basically all you get to see. Just a tiny little window at the top that says McLaren. McLaren really doesn't want you to work on these engines. They don't have a large hood that you can lift and take a look at all. In fact, let me show you the little tiny bit you get to see. Yeah, that's all you get. That's your access to your engine. 4.0 liter V8, twin turbo, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. Top speed 204 miles an hour, 650 horsepower if you're anywhere outside the United States, 641 if you're in the US, 500 pounds of torque. It's a beautiful engine, produces a ton of power, and that's all you get to see. Come on, McLaren. I want to see it. Now you can hear that really raspy whine of the turbo spooling up. And I know this isn't the naturally aspirated V10 in a Lamborghini or a V8 in a Ferrari. The turbos take some of that noise away, but it still sounds fantastic. McLaren's done a good job of amplifying what sound they can outside of the turbos with that engine. And truthfully, if you're like me, you kind of like the sound of the blow-off valve. You like the sound of the turbos winding up. It's not as robust, if you will, as a naturally aspirated engine, but I think it's a generational thing. You know, folks that grow up on those naturally aspirated engines, that's what they want to hear. You know, and we all grew up on turbos and superchargers, and that's what we want to hear. Hopefully the next generation doesn't want to hear the whir of an electric engine, and they still have an appreciation for these because they are pretty awesome. So let's talk interior of this car. It is outfitted with fantastic materials, and I know McLaren has a reputation for some panel gaps and things along those lines, but on the interior of this vehicle, it is fantastic. Now, is it the level of a Lamborghini Evo or a Ferrari 488? No. No, it's not. I got in the interior of those and they were jaw-dropping. But I think this interior might be better in one aspect, and that's driver focus. Yes, this is a car that you could theoretically drive every day. I said that earlier. However, when you throw it into sport or into track mode, there's not a lot of distraction in this car. You don't have 900 buttons on this steering wheel. In fact, you don't have any buttons. So you have these two buttons here, which is one is performance and one is handling. It's normal, sport, and track. And obviously track being the most extreme, sport being somewhere in the middle, and normal being that everyday car we talked about. Now McLaren did do something a little peculiar. And that's you have to push active in order to let the car know you're actually serious. In case for some reason while you're driving you reach down and you accidentally, I don't know what McLaren was thinking and why I can't turn these and why I have to push an active button in order to let the car know I'm... Yeah, I don't know. And you have an aero mode, which activates the rear wing. Like I told you, typically that wing sits nice and low, allowing the car to be very slippery at high speeds. But when you throw it into aero, the wing comes up, regardless of the speed you're driving. Little show-off mode. But it also allows for something pretty unique to this car, and that's an air brake. Yes, this car is outfitted with an air brake. So at high speeds or high cornering, when I push on the brake hard, that wing goes straight up and helps to slow down the car. Remember I mentioned to you that this car was outfitted with carbon fiber throughout. So there's carbon fiber here in the dash, carbon fiber on the steering wheel, and you can see the carbon fiber on the side of the car. Everything else in here is Alcantara, from the roof lining, the seats, to the dash. Now, those of you that know, Alcantara is actually lighter than leather, which is why it's typically found in these cars. Yes, leather is probably a more luxurious feeling material, but it weighs more. And so this was all about the weight and performance, as I said, compromising anything in pursuit of performance. Honestly, I'd feel rather silly telling you that the handling is precise and goes exactly where you want, like I've done in other videos. I mean, it's a freaking McLaren. You buy it because it's got sharp handling. You buy it because it's a race car. You buy it because that's what it does. There's an expectation that's what it does. So yes, the handling is sharp. The suspension is great. You hardly feel any turn. And again, there's a little bit of magic there because you also don't feel the bumps and undulations that you're going over. Now, if I put it into track mode, you feel it much more. In fact, you can see as we're going over a little bit rougher road here, there is some movement in the steering wheel. It's feeling that. And I guess that leads me to something else, something that I've been missing since I bought the Tesla, and that is the road feel. You know, when I reviewed the Tesla, my very first video on YouTube, I talked about the steering being like a video game. And it is. You know, so many people have talked about the Tesla being a one-trick pony, and once that G-force rush of its 0 to 60 times leaves you, there's not much left that the car gives you. This is not that case. There's no one trick for this car. It handles extremely well. It goes through corners like nobody's business. It's as fast as any car I have ever driven, and so many reviews have talked about the way this car accelerates and picks up speed being like nothing else. You can go from 0 to jail time before you can say your whole name. That's what this car is. It is about the performance, the speed, its ability on the road. And you feel it. You feel it in your feet, you feel it in your hands, you feel it just about everywhere you take this car.
Just wait at the stop sign for a second, let the people clear. My kid wants to hear you open it up.
Okay, that's a deal.
Obviously, I do too.
Ready? Like I said, you can't go anywhere without somebody stopping you to say hello. So, fun little story. The first day I got this car, I was so nervous driving it that I didn't notice there was actually a police officer behind me. And I was driving, honestly guys, I was driving under the speed limit. First time, didn't want to do anything crazy, just trying to get a feel for it. And I was not paying attention, didn't realize that a cop was behind me. And apparently he threw his lights on. So the cop ends up pulling up next to me and throws his lights on again and actually raises his sirens. I pull over thinking, gosh, what could I have possibly done? Turned out absolutely nothing. The cop just wanted to see the car. So it just kind of gives you this indication. Everybody wants to see this car, and if they can get your attention, they're gonna ask you to rev it, they're gonna ask you to take off, they're gonna ask you to stop and see if they can see it. Okay guys, well there you have it. Let me try and get out of this car gracefully, which is basically impossible when you own a car like this. But there you guys have it. Thanks for joining me on today's video. If you liked it,
thumbs up down below. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe down there as well. And hit the little bell icon so you can be notified the next time I upload a video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.